We're fortunate. We should be able to follow the experience overseas. Instead, we're charging headlong into an unprecedented experiment because the other countries, especially European countries that have tried to venture down this path, they are not reneging on their net zero aspirations, but they're certainly shifting heavily towards nuclear in order to do it. They know renewables can't do it.
But also, heed Tony Blair, the former Labor Prime Minister from Britain, a well-known climate enthusiast. He says it's wrong for people to be asked to make financial sacrifices and changes in lifestyles when they know that their impact on global emissions is minimal. So the right goal here, I think, for the coalition, and I heard Senator Jane Hume, the Liberal senator from Victoria, talking about this issue before. The right goal here, Chris, I think should be the pace of energy policy. Change, not its long-term necessity. And I think that's the way to respond in a sophisticated way to Labor's scare campaign.
Yeah, I think that would be a very sensible approach. And instead, we've got this headlong rush to renewables. We should be extending the life of our cheap and reliable fossil fuel energy, and maybe looking at a medium-term transition to more nuclear. And obviously, there'll be some role for renewables. But we'll see. We're back in the climate wars again. I've got to get your thoughts on Australia signing up with 27 other countries to this latest call for a ceasefire and seeming to blame Israel for all of the difficulties around aid and aid distribution in Gaza. Let us know your thoughts on that.
Well, look, the leading neoconservative columnist for the New York Times, Brett Stevens, past guest on your program, he makes it very clear that if the Israel government's intent and actions are genocidal, why hasn't it been vastly more deadly? The problem, though, Chris, is the weight of world opinion here. It's not just the Albanese government. You've got, 28 nations here that signed this joint statement. And they're saying the suffering of the civilians in Gaza has reached new depths. And as Brett Stevens acknowledges, there are important questions to be raised about the tactics Israel has used, especially with respect to the food distribution system. But ultimately, though, this statement that Australia signed, it won't stop the Netanyahu government from trying to secure the release of the remaining hostages. And they still want to defeat Hamas, which, let's remember, Canberra has designated a terrorist organisation, has done so since 2001.
Yeah, it's very counterproductive, though. I would have thought, while a ceasefire offer is actually on the table that Israel has agreed to. Just briefly, the statement puts the finger of blame solely on Israel when it comes to aid distribution. But interestingly, Penny Wong didn't want to repeat that claim when she was interviewed by Andrew Clennell yesterday. Have a look.
I think it's self-evident that insufficient aid is going into Gaza. I don't think anybody disputes that.
And who's responsible?
Well, yeah, we just want aid to go in, right? I know that people want a political argument.
Yeah, I think the US and Israel aid program is not the problem. And if it is, why wouldn't she say that again in an interview?
Well, she doesn't mention the genocide word, but many people who support the Albanese government's position on this subject do say it's genocide.
Which is ludicrous. It's an absurdity, as Brett Stevens pointed out.
The aggressor accepts a ceasefire and seeks to bring aid to civilians, while you could make the argument here that the victim refuses and orders its people to turn down the food. And that's what's happening here with Hamas.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us, Tom. I appreciate it as ever. Tom Switzer there from the Centre for Independent Studies.